All right, working on a 1938 Divco milk truck. Some people know what that is, a lot of people don't know what that is, but this is one here. Short wheelbase, slam down, we're making it a little hot rod. I'm actually building this for my wife. LS motor, 4L80 transmission, 4-wheel disc brakes, AccuAir air ride, all the goodies packed into some burnt up looking dumpster of a truck. Gonna ride and drive really great like a brand new car, just look crazy and jaw dropper extreme on the outside. On the inside, it's the same flavor. All bare metal is kind of my signature thing of what I do on all my personal stuff and some of our customer builds as well. Bare metal bomber seats, they swivel. All bare metal insides. The floors are steel because they got to be welded to the body for structure. All the other panels are all aluminum. The dash started as a 63 double hump, a 62 double hump C10 dash. Modified it heavily, put a big waterfall that comes down, made the thing fit the old Divco milk truck. Looks really cool. So what we're doing is finishing up all the things that we didn't do in the first mock-up. We threw it together to get to a show with Battle in Bama. A lot of people seen it there, a lot of people didn't, but what we did was we just screwed it together, Clecoed it together to make things happen so we could get it there. It all will look the same just like it looks. It's just that we're finally dynamatting, making all the edges laser straight, sanding and finishing all the corners. Everything's fit and finish will be a little tighter and a little nicer than what it is. Physically, it won't change any appearance. First thing we're gonna do is get this thing stripped down. We got it lifted up in the air. We're cutting all these rusty bolts loose. Gonna try and get the body separated from the chassis. Then we're gonna make a couple piles of parts we don't wanna use and then the parts that we gotta use. We don't have much left in any of the parts departments because everything's rusted and corroded and locked up. So there'll be a bigger pile of what we're not gonna use, but we still gotta get through the dirt work to get to those piles. We got the body off the frame, we got the frame cleaned up, we know exactly what we're going to use and what we're going to do here. We're going to take a front section off of a C10 chassis and actually use C10 front cross member and control arms on it. You're going to kind of build a back half on the chassis, but use a C10 rear control arms with airbags. Everything will ride really good, and then parts are readily available everywhere if we were to need parts. Chassis already got a sexy big drop in it, so it's a cool looking chassis. It looks totally custom, so we opted to go with that. Not to mention that all the numbers on the chassis match all the paperwork numbers for the body and the title. So here we go. We cut the cross member all down, trying to get it all fit in. A lot of customizing to factory parts, but like I said, drivability and parts availability will be best in the long run. Got the chassis all set up to what we would say is a rolling chassis. Now we're building some exhaust. Got a LS motor up in the front, so we're going to do some stainless steel exhaust all the way back with some MagnaFlow mufflers. All custom made. There's no off-the-shelf parts for a beast like this. Everything's gonna be handmade and coming from the mind of the guys that are building it. Once all that's done, we got the body set back down onto the chassis. We made body mounts, everything's secure and structured. Now we're gonna go around the body and pick it apart and figure out what we wanna fix, what's not gonna be safe down the road, and try to make the body structure. But we don't wanna take all the character away from it. It's still an old ass truck that we found out in the woods, so we're gonna still try to keep it look that way as far as patina paint, some dents and dings, but just not heavily rusted. We're gonna cut the back end all apart because it's so rusted up, and we're gonna actually weld metal all the way around the edges of the back wall and actually turn it into a door. It never used to open before, but we're gonna actually make it an opening like hatch door. Then we'll work from there. We'll go down the sides of the body where the body lines were completely rusted out and have to put new body lines and new metal in there, working our way to the front. Just going around making patches and fillers and putting new life back into the old body. A lot more rust than we thought we would get into, but we'll get through it one spot at a time. See, all the way up to the front, the whole windshield structure was completely rusted out and wouldn't even hold the windshield. There was barely enough there that I could make a template off of how it was factory, and that's exactly what we did. We laid those rusty little pieces out, made little paper templates off of them, and then converted that into new sheet metal. All welded in and metal finished. It now holds a windshield, and we'll do a little faux patina on there to make it blend in like we were never there. After all the exterior body's all done and complete, we're gonna move to the inside. This is where it gets fun. There is no inside, so we're gonna create it all. This is all what we wanna do and how we're making the vision come to life here. Inside's gonna stay all bare metal, so all the floors gotta be welded to the car, so it's gotta be steel for structure purposes as well. Everything else will be cosmetic sidewalls and roof and dash. That'll all be done in aluminum, so there'll be a combination of metals going on in here, but we're gonna keep it all bare metal, so it has kind of like that milk truck stainless steel look on the inside, but yet a little more modern styling of how we do things today with a bunch of bead rolling and putting a little bit of a tough guy coolness in there with some bomber seats and crazy dash, different things like that. Last big piece of fabrication is the biggest piece I've ever made in my fabrication history. Not my best piece, but definitely my biggest piece. This is the actual headliner, all one piece aluminum, and then we did a crazy bead rolled insert. 1938 it says, that's actually what the Divco is 1938. I'm a slow learner, so sometimes I gotta remind myself when I get the questions asked, I just look around, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a 1938. No, but that's what that is. It's just a little bit of that Art Deco, getting that 1940s vibe with the font and the lettering and everything. So it all ties in with everything else that we have going on in the Divco, which includes the dash, the seats, everything's bead rolled, riveted, whole bunch of metalwork. Just a lot of showing off of metalwork going on the inside of the truck. The outside of the truck is all patinaed, a little bit rough, call it a rat rod, call it a hot rod, whatever. It's just words to me. I'll call my own thing a rat rod. Some people are offended, but it is pretty ratty if you really look at it. Going over to the Divco, you'll see that it's all blown apart and we look like we're way behind schedule, but I had to take all the panels out to get the glass guy to put the glass in, and then for us to put the headliner in. That goes in first, and then all the walls, dash, everything will start going in, and it'll start looking like a truck really fast, hopefully. But there's a mile-long list of small stuff, little brackets and mounting tabs and this and that we're gonna do this weekend before we could get to that. So what I tell everybody, even in metalwork, sometimes your project starts to look really ugly before it gets to that pretty part. Everybody likes to see the pretty part, but we gotta go through that ugly part first. It's not like a lip with the glass. It bolts to this, so it's gonna go.
It's gonna go right here.
Yeah, you set it up in there, and it'll kind of help hold it. So,
Okay.
And I gotta pry it around and bracket and then bolt
Back
it.
there.
At least I used to.
So
have
you want
to.
me to hook it up there and then stay up here?
Yeah, just hook it up there and make sure I don't knock it down. You know.
Okay.
Once I pry it up in there, it should hold itself.
Okay. Wall recycling.
Yeah, come take this from him, Cam. Gotta kind of drive it through the top angle of the wheel
Up, down here.
Very tight.
The balls are falling out of that side.
Very tight back here.
Are you gonna have to put something to hold one side, that bolt in or something? There you go.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see more build videos like this, help us out by liking, commenting, and subscribing to our channel. And it's a little thing to do, but don't forget to turn on those notifications. If you want to buy merch, go to store.classiccarstudio.com. See you next time.